What if I told you this car was never meant to be normal? Not fast in a typical way, not luxurious in a predictable way, but different in a way that makes you pause. This is the BMW Concept Speedtop. And before you think it's just another sleek coupe with a fancy badge, wait, because the real story isn't what it looks like. It's what it represents. You see, BMW doesn't create concept cars just to look good. They create them to test reactions, to measure emotions, to see how far they can push design without breaking identity. And the Speedtop? It pushes. The first thing that hits you isn't power. It's presence. There's something about the proportions. Long, low, confident. It doesn't scream for attention. It commands it quietly. But here's the twist. Underneath that elegant skin, there's aggression. Controlled aggression. BMW calls it a concept, but it doesn't feel like a fantasy. It feels ready, almost production ready. And that's where things get interesting. Because when a concept feels real, it usually means something is coming. Now let's talk about that front design. Not in numbers, not in measurements, in feeling. Those slim headlights feel focused, like narrowed eyes before a sprint. The grille isn't oversized for drama. It's sculpted, intentional. There's tension in the body lines, like it's holding energy even when parked. And you can almost sense that energy from the driver's seat. Speaking of the interior, this is where BMW plays a different game. It's not just leather and screens. It's atmosphere. When you sit inside, it feels tailored, personal. The seats don't just hold you. They wrap around you. The dashboard flows. No clutter, no chaos. Everything feels driver-centered. But here's what most people miss. Concept cars often exaggerate. Wild doors, unrealistic cabins. The Speedtop doesn't. It feels usable, refined, mature, which makes you wonder, is BMW testing future 8 Series DNA here? Or is this the beginning of something entirely new? Now let's talk about performance, but not the boring way. BMW didn't scream horsepower numbers everywhere, and that silence, it's intentional. Because this isn't about drag strip bragging rights, it's about balance. You know that feeling when a car doesn't just accelerate, it glides forward with authority? That's the kind of energy this machine promises. BMW's TwinPower Turbo philosophy isn't about raw chaos. It's about controlled power delivery. Smooth when you want it, explosive when you need it. And imagine this, open road, late evening, no traffic. The Speedtop wouldn't just drive, it would flow. But here's where it gets deeper. Why would BMW invest in something this refined if it was just for display? Because concept cars are conversations. They're messages to the future. And the Speedtop speaks about design evolution. Cleaner lines, sharper intent, less unnecessary drama. Even the rear tells a story. Wide stance, confident shoulders, minimalistic lighting. It feels planted, like it owns the road behind it. And then there's practicality. Yes, practicality. The rear space, the trunk design. It hints that BMW wants luxury grand touring to feel emotional again. Remember when grand tourers were about long journeys? About driving across countries in comfort and power? This feels like a modern interpretation of that idea, but with sharper edges. Now here's something interesting. BMW could have made this flashy. Extreme wings, loud vents. They didn't. They kept it elegant, which tells you something about where BMW's design language is heading. Subtle dominance. And if you think this is just about aesthetics, think again. Every concept influences production cars within a few years. The headlights, the grille proportions, the interior layout, even the stitching patterns. They always trickle down. So what you're hearing about right now might shape the BMW you'll see on the streets tomorrow. But here's the emotional part. Cars like the Speedtop aren't just machines. They're statements. They remind enthusiasts that BMW still cares about driving purity, still cares about proportion, still cares about craftsmanship. In a world moving rapidly toward electric everything and autonomous systems, this feels human. And that's powerful. You can almost imagine BMW engineers standing around it, not just checking specs, but feeling proud. Because creating something beautiful in an era of efficiency-focused design, that's bold. And bold moves define brands. Now ask yourself something. If BMW actually releases a production version of this, would it change how people see the brand? Would it revive that emotional spark people felt with classic Grand Tourers? That's the question the Speedtop quietly asks. And maybe that's why it matters more than it appears. It's not just about today. It's about direction. BMW is telling us, without shouting, that luxury and performance can still feel intimate. personal, connected. And that connection is what keeps enthusiasts loyal. So the next time someone says concept cars don't matter, remember this one, because sometimes the quietest concepts carry the loudest future. And the BMW Concept Speedtop, it doesn't just hint at tomorrow, it whispers it.